Welcome to Vroom Vibes. When the engine roars, luxury never stops. The Jaguar GT 2026. Even saying the words feels heavy with meaning, as if they carry decades of history and unfulfilled promises. Jaguar, a brand that once ruled both the racetrack and the boulevard, has had moments of brilliance and stretches of silence. The E-Type of the 1960s was so beautiful, Enzo Ferrari himself called it the most beautiful car ever made. The XK coupes of the early 2000s were graceful, elegant, understated. The F-Type carried the torch of passion and performance through the last gas-burning years. Its V8 growl a reminder that Jaguars weren't just cars, they were predators. And then, there was the XJ220, a machine of dreams, a supercar that seemed to come from another planet. For years, enthusiasts wondered, what would Jaguar do in the age of electricity? Would it vanish quietly into SUVs and sensible luxury crossovers, its wild spirit lost? Or would it rise again, as it had so many times before, with something daring, something dramatic, something that proved Jaguar was still Jaguar? That answer arrives in 2026, and it comes not softly, not modestly, but boldly, with a machine that wears two letters that mean everything: GT, Grand Touring, the art of speed stretched across continents. The car built not just to race, but to seduce, not just to transport, but to transform the journey into an event. Jaguar knows this language well. It has spoken it since the XK120 first stunned the world in the 1940s, since the C-Type and D-Type conquered Le Mans, since the E-Type made the very idea of a car into art. With the GT 2026, Jaguar is not just building another EV. It is writing itself back into the story. The first glimpse leaves you breathless. The proportions are perfect, almost impossibly so. A long, endless hood flows into a cabin pushed rearward, roofline dipping like liquid metal, tapering into a short, muscular rear deck. The stance is wide, hunkered, feline, as if the car itself is caught in mid-pounce. Jaguar has always understood curves better than straight lines, and here every surface seems alive, catching the light in motion, even when standing still. At the front, the headlights are unmistakably Jaguar, slim, predatory, like a cat's eyes glowing in the dark, framed by a subtle shield-shaped panel that replaces the old grille. Instead of a gaping intake, the surface is sculpted, glossy black, with an illuminated Jaguar emblem that pulses as you approach, alive, as if the car is breathing. There's no clutter, no fake vents, no unnecessary edges, just purity. From the side, it's theater. The glasshouse is sleek, almost coupe-like, with frameless doors that open wide to reveal the promise of what's inside. The fenders swell gently around massive 22-inch wheels, designs inspired by racing turbines, their polished edges catching light like jewelry. The roofline, oh that roofline, arcs with the grace of the E-Type's most famous silhouette, a quiet nod to the past without being trapped by it. And at the rear, drama. A thin ribbon of light stretches the width of the tail, lifting slightly at each corner like a whisper of the D-Type's fin. It glows red when still, but dances in animation as you approach or depart, a modern echo of neon signs flickering in a midnight city. The tail is clean, uncluttered, muscular. Beneath, a carbon diffuser hints at the performance waiting in silence. Inside, the 2026 GT reveals Jaguar's new vision of luxury. Forget dashboards littered with screens screaming for attention. Forget tech for tech's sake. This is elegance redefined, modern, minimal, sensual. A single sweeping display stretches across the dash, yes, but it feels more like a piece of glass sculpture than a computer. It is customizable, but not overwhelming. When you don't need it, it fades into near invisibility, leaving behind clean surfaces and calmness. The seats, sculpted thrones, are upholstered in sustainably tanned leathers, their stitching a quiet nod to British tailoring. The materials are tactile, honest, alive. Real wood, sourced responsibly. Cold to the touch brushed aluminum. Recycled composites transformed into panels with depth and texture. Jaguar has found a way to make sustainability luxurious, proving conscience doesn't mean compromise. Slip into the driver's seat, and the cabin cocoons you. The steering wheel feels alive in your hands, its shape more oval than round, echoing racing cars of Jaguar's past. The start button isn't hidden, it's prominent, glowing softly. Press it, and the GT awakens. Not with a roar, but with a pulse, a low, rising hum that fills the cabin, engineered not to mimic the old world, but to create a new identity. It feels alive, futuristic, feline. Performance? It doesn't disappoint. Dual motors are standard, delivering around 480 horsepower and effortless all-wheel drive. But the R variant? That's the halo. Triple motors, over 700 horsepower, torque vectoring so sharp it feels as if the car reads your thoughts. 0 to 60, 3 seconds flat. The surge is instant, relentless, but refined. Not brutal, not savage, but smooth, like a big cat springing forward with controlled violence. The kind that leaves you grinning, not gasping. And the range, a touring car must travel far. The GT carries a 100-plus kilowatt-hour battery, good for 350 miles or more. On the motorway, it glides, whisper quiet, suspension ironing out imperfections, adaptive air dampers adjusting seamlessly. Press the mode selector, and it shifts into something else, a poised, agile companion that dances through bends with precision. The chassis feels alive, communicative, never numb. This isn't an appliance. This is a driver's car, an EV with a soul. But numbers and stats tell only half the story. What makes the 2026 Jaguar GT unforgettable is how it makes you feel. Behind the wheel, cruising along a coastal highway at dusk, the cabin glowing softly with ambient light, the world outside melting away, you realize this is what Jaguar was always meant to build. A car that seduces you, that makes every mile feel like a gift, that transforms driving from necessity into art. For Jaguar, the GT is more than a model. It is survival. In an era where the brand has struggled to define itself, where SUVs threaten to dilute its essence, this car stands as a reminder. Jaguar is not here to follow. Jaguar is here to lead, to create beauty, to inspire. And that's why the 2026 GT matters. It is not just an EV, not just a new flagship. It is the return of Jaguar's swagger, the rebirth of a dream that began with the E-Type and carried through decades of daring. It is proof that even in silence, a car can roar. The Jaguar GT 2026 doesn't just move, it prowls, it hunts, it conquers. And in doing so, it gives us something rare in today's world, a car that feels alive.